This is a minimalistic animated login form built using HTML and CSS. It's also a responsive web page, so it looks good on any device, and it has two input fields for username and the password, and each has its own box icons. It also has a remember me option with a checkbox and a forgot password option with a clickable link, a login button to submit the form, and a register option if the user does not have an account. Now let's see how we can build this web page. First, you will need starter files for this web page, and there will be a zip file which will be linked in the video description, as you can see here. You just need to download it and then extract the files. And once the files are extracted, you just need to open this folder on your VS Code. And this folder will have the following items. In this file, we will be structuring the HTML part of the login form. And then the assets folder will have two more folders, namely CSS and IMG. The CSS folder will have the style.css page to style the web page. And the IMG folder will have the background image, which we will be using for the background on this login form. Now let's start coding the HTML part of this website. First, create a div called wrapper. Inside this, we'll need another div called login box, and there's another div inside this called login header, which will have a span called login, and then another div called input box, which will have an input of type text field. It will have an ID of user, a class of input field with a required filter, and a label with a class called label, and this will be the username, and this will be the icon that will be used right in front of the username input field. Now let's preview how this looks like on a web page. And this is what it looks like currently, and I'm actually using an extension to load this using show preview. And we'll need another input field, input box for the password. We can just copy this and replace the items in there. The type of this would be password, the ID would be pass, and the label for would also be pass. This will be password, and we'll use a different icon here. And now we'll create another div which will contain a remember me checkbox as well as the forgot password option. And the type of this would be checkbox with an ID of member, and then we'll have a label here and type here remember me, and this div will be for forgot password. We'll have an anchor tag, and it does not point to any link at the moment. Type here as forgot password, and again we'll have another input box here with an input of type submit. It has a value of login and a class of input submit. This will be the submit button of the login form, and then another div called register, which will have a span for don't have an account, and then another anchor tag which at the moment doesn't point anywhere with the word register. This will be a hyperlink to go to the registration page in case the user does not have an account. And that would be all for the HTML part of this website. We'll also open a live server and see how this looks like on a desktop view. And this is what the web page looks like on the desktop view, and this is what the web page would look like in a mobile view. Now we can start styling the web page. There will be a few sections here, and a special font is used on this web page called Poppins. You can get this font using by going to Google Fonts, and this file is already available on the status file, so you can just get started right from here. And these are the default values that have been set for this login page, and these are the CSS variables that are used for all the commonly used colors on this web page. We can now start off with element styling. First, we can get started with the body tag. We'll set the background image first. This is the image that's available within the IMG folder on the starter files. And since this background is repeating, we can add another attribute here and set background repeat to no repeat. Now we can style the anchor tags. Now we can start styling all the custom classes we just created on the HTML page, starting from the wrapper class. Now we can style the login box. We will also add an animation here called scale up. And now we can style the login header, which will style the heading of this login page inside the login form. And this will be the styling for the login header span. We'll just close this for a moment. Now we'll style the input box. And now the input field. The input field will also have an animation. We will add the keyframes at the end of this style sheet. And this animation will be called as bounce down. And this styling is for the user label with an ID of hash. Now we can style the label. This will also have that same animation bounce down. We can just copy and paste it here. And this styling is applied to the label when the input field is focused. Now we can style the icons. This will also use that same animation. And these styles were applied to make this work. Let's also have a look at what the desktop looks like right now. We'll continue the rest now. And this will style the login button, which is the submit button for this form. Now we will style the hover effect for input submit. And this is what it looks like. Now we'll style the register view. We'll also add separate styling for the anchor tags in both the register view and the forgot password view. And this will give them both a different color with a font weight of 300. And that would be all for the class styling. We can now move forward with the responsive design. We will be restyling some classes inside this. And to finish things off, we'll enter the remaining parts of code related to animation. Mostly this part will be about the keyframes, since we have already declared the animations on the above classes. And as you may have seen, this will scale up the login form. And this is the bounce down keyframes effect, starting from 0. All the way to 100. And this is what that effect actually does to the input fields. And with that, our styling part is now done. We can now check how the finished website really looks like. And this is what the finished web page looks like. We can enter our username here, followed by the password. And you may have also noticed, whenever you click the input field, the label goes up. When you click away, it goes down. Same works with the username as well, along with their relevant icons. And then there's a checkbox, followed by the forgot password link. And then if you do not have an account, there's a register option, along with the login button to submit this form. Let's now see how this looks like on different resolutions. This would be the desktop view, whereas this would be the mobile view of this app. And you can simply drag this away like this, and it will scale correctly based on whichever device you access this from. And look forward to my next video, as it will be the registration page based on this login web page. So make sure to subscribe and stay updated.